Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we are on Pokemon TCG Live to check out this. It's Deoxys V-Star, which is a brand new card that was released as a promo today along with Zeraora V-Star. That will be coming tomorrow. But first, let's talk about this card. I actually really like it. I think it's got lots of potential, and it could possibly see some play on the lower tiers of the ladder. It is a 270 HP Psychic-type V-Star Pokemon with two very strong attacks. Its first attack, Psychic Javelin, for 2 Psychic and a colorless energy, deals 190 damage, plus it places 60 damage on one of your opponent's benched Pokemon V. This is very reminiscent of cards like Darkrai EX back in the day, the ability to hit really hard into the active and then deal some spread damage to the bench is not to be ignored, and when you're considering the fact that you can attach a Choice Belt to the active to deal 220 and knock out basic Pokemon V, this card is potentially a very big threat. You might be saying though, you need to be able to take big one-shots, there's no way that we can do that. Well, you're actually wrong. Deoxys has the V-Star attack Star Force, which for 1 Psychic Energy deals 60 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. Now, if you've set up to use a Psychic Javelin, that's going to be 180 damage as a minimum. If your opponent has energy on top of that, you could potentially see numbers as high as 320. Able to knock out those big V-Max Pokemon. Now, obviously, it is reliant on your opponent attaching energy to their active, but let me put it this way, if they don't have energy on the active, they're probably not dealing too much damage back to you. So I think this is a really solid attacker, and I think it's working pretty well in the deck that I'm playing it in. We're going to be focused in on one of the big support cards from the format of old, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. 320 HP, Psychic-type VMAX Pokemon with Underworld Door. That is the key ability that we're going to be using here. Underworld Door lets us attach 1 Psychic Energy from our hand to a benched Psychic Pokemon, and then if we've done that, we can draw 2 cards. This means that we are not only accelerating energy, but also giving ourselves card advantage over our opponent, giving us more chances to draw into the cards we need to take big knockouts. And if we don't get the knockouts with Deoxys V-Star, you can always use Max Geist. For 3 colorless, we deal 10 damage, plus 30 damage for every Psychic Energy that we have in play. In the late game, this number can be incredibly big, and that is a very good thing. One of the best things, though, about Calyrex is its large HP, and we can support that by using cards like Radiant Gardevoir, which have the ability Loving Veil. This reduces the damage taken from opposing Pokemon V, V-Star, and V-Max by 20, but also we can utilize the similarly new Deoxys VMAX. This card, that comes in the same bundle as the V-Star, has Protective DNA as an ability. It means that all of our Pokemon take 30 damage less from attacks from our opponent's V-Star Pokemon. And when you consider the fact that V-Star Pokemon are the main attackers of the format right now, this means that you are saving yourself a lot of damage from those attackers. 30 from the Deoxys, plus 20 from the Gardevoir, means that you are rejecting 50 damage from most V-Star Pokemon, and that is going to be really good. Also worth noting that the Deoxys VMAX also has a workable attack for 2 colorless and 1 Psychic, we use Max Drain for 160 damage, and heal 30 from this Pokemon. Not great, but still useful in a pinch. The deck list is relatively simple. You can see it on the right-hand side of the screen there. If you haven't picked it up, it is down in the description, so you can copy that into PTCG Live, or if you're still playing on PTCGO, you can play it there. Otherwise, let's jump into the standard ladder and see if we can't get a couple of games with this Deoxys V-Star. Alrighty, game 1 on PTCG Live. Let's see if we can't get ourselves a couple of games. We'll grab Crobat with this Quick Ball. We're going to attach an energy to this Deoxys and then throw this bad boy down. See what kind of cards we can get off of the Dark asset here. That Calyrex is actually really good. I think that's pretty much all that we need to do here. Now, if you haven't seen Pokemon TCG Live yet, then this is it. I think it's actually a really good way to simulate the experience of playing Pokemon TCG. There's obviously some kinks still to work out, considering we are still in a limited beta, but if you are interested in playing it, then it's available in a variety of different regions. I'll provide the link down below to the information sheet for it, and be aware that it is coming out to most places, allegedly, by the end of the year, which is going to be very, very exciting. Now, we are up against a Zoroark V-Star deck here, so I'd really like to start attacking pretty soon. Best case scenario for us here is actually taking a knockout on that Zoroark next turn with a Deoxys V-Star, but I don't think that that's going to happen. Instead, we're going to try and just set our board up and try and avoid getting knocked out. Zoroark is very, very strong, a very powerful attacker. We need to be wary of it. Otherwise, we will find ourselves in a position where we're trying to race a deck that is way more powerful than we are. So our opponent is going to retreat their Purloin into that Zoroark, and we'll probably see a Void return here, dealing 30 damage to the active Calyrex, and then returning to the bench, depending on what they put in the active. It probably is... Oh, they're choosing not to. Okay, that's incredible. Let's play down the Calyrex here and use Underworld Door to accelerate our hand just a little bit. We'd really like to see an evolution and hopefully also a retreat option. We've got 3 energy in hand. I'll attach one of those to the Deoxys. We have the energy to attack. Let's research. We need 2 cards off of this, and we got one of them. Not all of them, but we still have some cards to go for. So we've got the Calyrex here in the active that we can use to get another couple of cards. We have the Deoxys, which we can put on the bench, which I really like. Let's also go for the Ultra Ball. Maybe our second Crobat's available. No, it looks like it's prized. Okay, so we can only realistically use 2 cards this turn. We won't play down the Gardevoir first. We'll play the Training Court, and then play that Gardevoir. Hopefully, with this energy and our Underworld Door ability, we'll be able to find access to a retreat option. But alas, it was not to be, and now we could potentially be in a really awkward spot. At least we do have our board set up, which is what we wanted to do. But if our opponent is able to take a knockout this turn, which unbelievably is actually not that hard for Zoroark to do, then we will find ourselves in a really bad position. Looks like they're going for Ultra Ball here. We'll grab themselves Zoroark V-Star, which gives them the attacker. Now, if you've not seen Zoroark V-Star before, then don't stress, you will see it on the channel relatively soon. It has the ability Phantom Star as its V-Star power. You'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen there, a little V-Star, over there, that way. You'll notice a little V-Star symbol has gone and been crossed out. Means that they've used that ability. It also has Tickling Curse for 2 colorless. Deals 50 damage times the amount of damage counters on their side of the field. And it looks like they're going to be able to set up a bunch of damage counters using this damage pump. Moving damage from the Gengar, placing it on the benched Liepard and Zoroark. So... Lul, there's a Gengar as well. Okay, so they're looking at 1 more piece of damage on that Zoroark, and they'll be able to deal 300 damage. Now, we have Radiant Gardevoir, which means that they are actually dealing 300 minus 20 at the moment. So 280, provided that there are no extra modifiers. We actually survive on 10 damage here. But that Choice Belt is an extra modifier, and we will be knocked out, which is unfortunate to say the very least. I'm not necessarily super stoked on that, but you know what? It's gonna be fine. The next part is, how do we actually go about winning this game? I think it's going to be quite difficult for us to get it, to be brutally honest. Because Zoroark is really, really good when they are in front. Like, they are really, really strong when they've already taken a couple of prizes. And they will have knocked out this Calyrex by the end of the turn. They'll be halfway towards winning the game, which I don't like. Luckily for us, we have the Deoxys VMAX in hand, so we can reduce damage even further. But I'm not certain that that's going to be enough. We might need to do some creative attacking here. So just bear with me a moment. We'll see if I can't come up with an idea. We are going to play down the Deoxys VMAX for sure. We're now reducing the amount of damage we take by 50. Then we're going to research, and we're going to see what we come across. A lot of energy is pretty good, but unfortunately, we only have one Calyrex to use here. So I am going to Underworld Door. We'll attach a Psychic Energy to the Calyrex and hopefully find a basic. We don't, we just get the research, that's okay. We'll attach to the Calyrex, have another attacker, replace the Bog with the Court, and then I could use Star Force, but I think Psychic Javelin is actually a better choice here. I'll place that 60 damage on the Zoroark V-Star on the bench. Well, the reason that I've done this is because I actually survive being knocked out by this Zoroark, I think. Is that... have I... oh, I've stuffed the maths up. I thought I survived. How much... they're gonna kill me by 10. Oh, boy. What a triumphant return this has been. I thought we were going to survive. We probably won't, but that's okay. We can take a knockout later, and we have Thornton to potentially get another Deoxys. So it's not all bad. Maybe they try and gust and miss out on the fact that they're not going to be taking a knockout at the moment. They're actually dealing 330 damage right now, which is more than enough to knock out our only attacker in play. But it's not enough to knock out either of our V-Stars. They are being reduced. That damage is being reduced by 50. 20 from the Gardevoir, 30 from the Deoxys. Yeah, this is going to be pretty tough. It's going to be pretty tough. If we do come back from it, it'll be because of their mistake. 27 AGB. There's a boss's orders. It's a good sign for us. They are bringing up that Deoxys VMAX. I wonder if they think they're getting the knockout here. They definitely aren't. And now we've got ourselves a game. Look at this. Okay, so what do we need to do now? We need to find ourselves a retreat option. It's not negotiable now. We will Underworld Door. We'll attach an energy from our hand to the Gardevoir on the bench. And look at that. We happen upon the Air Balloon as well. I like that. We got the Air Balloon on the active. We have to attach. Deoxys VMAX's retreat is 3, so we need to get that going. Unfortunately, we don't have access to a gust effect, so we will need to Psychic Javelin here, but I can place 60 damage onto the other benched Zoroark, and hopefully that means that we are alive. Yes, one of the things that I failed to mention was that I was kind of, you know, in that situation there. Normally Zoroark has a double turbo energy on it, so normally you're reducing it by 20 more damage. So I'm actually dealing 70 less damage than they think they are with a double turbo. So this Zoroark in the active won't be able to knock out the Deoxys. They'll actually be 10 short, which, you know, hopefully they just forget that. Hopefully they think, oh, we're dealing 280, it should be fine, but they're actually dealing 260. I just get fooled by the fact that sometimes people just attach regular energies to a Zoroark, which is a weird thing to do. Just attach the DTE, it's free. You can do one. We can do one a turn. You can put on many DTs. Four of them. You can just have 4 DTS. It's fine. You're allowed to play them. There's no law against it, as far as I'm aware. Yes, but I mean, we're still in a horrific position here. If our opponent finds a boss, then we lose. But they've used boss, and Zoroark doesn't often play multiples. I mean, they do. They play multiples all the time. But you never know. They might miss it. They might not Crobat into it. You never know. They might just not get the gust. It might turn out that my mistake was actually not that big of a deal. It might turn out that that's the case. Now, by the way, whilst they're playing out their turn, I will tell you, I am planning on doing some more content on YouTube over the coming weeks. I will be playing on Pokemon TCG Live, so if you cannot get access to it at the moment, you'll at least be able to see it in action. And I'm also planning on doing more live streaming stuff. So if you're around at around 6 PM my time, you never know, you might just catch me live. They stuffed up. There's the little ugh. And we managed to survive another turn here. And this actually gives us a really, really good chance to win the game. You can see there's a boss there. We won't grab anything with this Fog Crystal. There's a boss there. There's Thornton there as well. We don't have a huge amount of energy left, but we do at least have a good suite of attackers. I'll attach the... I should have attached the Choice Belt to the Shadow Rider. I'm kind of... Attaching to the Crobat seems a little ambitious. And we could theoretically research I don't necessarily think we need to. I think we can just sit on this hand, because next turn, if they want to win, they have to attack with a Zoroark. They cannot attack with anything else, at least I don't think so, because they won't be playing any other cards. And with this 60 damage on the benched Zoroark V-Star, we can actually take the knockout with any of our attackers on the bench. So luckily for us, because our opponent has made a couple of miscalculations with the amount of damage that they're dealing, we're in a position now where they just take a knockout on the active, we win the game. Now, they will just play boss because they've only got 9 cards left, and there's no chance that they whiff it. But it's worth noting that we do still technically have a game. Also worth noting that Crobat theoretically could become a Deoxys V-Star next turn. If we have access to Thornton, we could then use that Crobat to get the Deoxys that will be knocked out of the discard pile and attack again with that Star Force V-Star power. But to be honest, I don't think we're going to need it. They are going to take the knockout, which means we are going to take the game. We can simply promote our Shadow Rider Calyrex and win. And it turns out that even if you do make mistakes sometimes your opponents make more than their fair share. There's Max Geist for the win. We take our last 2 prizes and we head on up on the standard ladder. Let's jump into another game now. We'll see if we can't get another win with Zoroark V-Star. No, I'm not playing Zoroark. I'm playing Deoxys. So we're going. We've got ourselves a pretty solid start. We've got Fog Crystal, which we can use here to grab ourselves another Shadow Rider Calyrex. Although there is an argument maybe going for the Deoxys here. But I really like this situation. We're in a good spot. We can attach to the active and pass the turn. We should at least have access to a couple of Calyrex next turn. Yeah, I think we're going relatively well. We are playing up against a Lost Zone deck, though. We do need to be careful. This could be Giratina. If it is, I think we have a game. If it's not Giratina, life is going to be slightly more difficult. A single prize deck is probably going to be a bit much for our Calyrex VMAXs to deal with, but that's okay. We'll do our best. That's all we can ever ask. And obviously, if our opponent has a pretty slow turn, then we'll have a great time. Now, they're not having a slow turn. They're having actually quite a very good turn. So there you go. Getting all the cards that they need. Giratina, we've got a chance. We can knock out Giratinas. We can theoretically knock out a Giratina in one hit if all goes well. With a Choice Belt and Deoxys V-Star, we can actually take a knockout and place damage counters on another Pokemon on the bench, which I really like. But we'll wait and see whether or not that is something that is available to us. If this Cramoran attacks us this turn, then we are probably in big trouble. So we are hopeful that they don't get 4 cards in the Lost Zone. If they do, they're going to hit into us, and that is going to be quite painful. If they don't, we might have a shot to actually win. We'll see how we go. We'll keep plugging away. Now, whilst I have a moment, because these guys they'll be doing stuff forever, I just wanted to say thank you to all those people that have joined the live streams that I've been doing over the last couple of days. I really appreciate you joining in. As I mentioned, if you're around 6 PM my time, which is realistically any time depending on where you are in the world, you can join in as well. Let's just very quickly play out my turn here, and then I will have that chat. Let's grab the second Calyrex off of this Evo Incense. I like that. We also have our V-Stars in the deck. It is very good. We can go for a Research or a Marnie here. I like the Marnie. Give our opponent less cards to work with. Seems like a pretty good thing. And we've managed to find some very interesting cards. We've got a Calyrex, and we also have a Quick Ball, which can find Crobat V. I'll be able to draw a bunch of cards here. I'd love to see like a potential Gardevoir. That could be good. I might thin out this Deoxys just so that I don't draw into it. I want to get it next turn, so I will thin it out of the deck anyway. Let's Crobat. We'll get 4 cards off of Dark Asset, and that is a lot of really good cards for us. And grab ourselves some Psychic Energy and hopefully draw into some sort of retreat. That would be brilliant. If I can get a retreat card here, I would be stoked. We are going to Underworld Dawn. I'm going to start powering up our benched Calyrex V. We've found an air balloon, and that means we will be attacking, which is really, really good for us. Getting some early prizes is going to be really important. We also have, and I don't want to make a big deal about this, we also have Boss and Choice Belt. If we can find access to 3 energy next turn, which again, that's going to be tough, but if we can do it, we can actually take a KO on the Giratina on our opponent's bench. So we'll see what we can do. Just take a prize, start off with that and an energy. Pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, as I was mentioning, thank you very much to those people who joined the live streams. If you want to be involved at 6 PM, I've said it like 3 times now, you should probably know. But also, I am planning on making content on Pokemon TCG Live for the foreseeable future. Here is my reasoning. I think that the game has progressed to a point where it's actually equal to or better than PTCGO. You're welcome to your opinion. I would love to hear what you have to say about Pokemon Live in the comments, but personally, in my experience, I think that the game is good enough, and if we had to, I would be more than happy to migrate my account tomorrow. Here's the thing. I might actually still just migrate my account, because if I am going to make content on PTCG Live, then I need access to my cards. I don't necessarily want to have to purchase with credits cards that I'm going to get when I migrate across, so you never know. I might do that. If you're interested in seeing that happen, then there's a very good chance it might happen this Sunday if you are watching the video live. Please check out my Twitter, the link is down in the description for any information about that. Plus, if you're watching this in the future, welcome. I hope that it's nice there, but also feel free to join in. You never know what I might be up to next. Another reason why I think Pokemon Live is a better place for me personally to create content is because of the very deck that I am playing right now. Deoxys V-Star and also Zeraora V-Star came out today. They literally just came out. If I was on PTCGO, I would need to do one of 2 things. I would need to find a trade for those cards. It would either be very, very exorbitant in its pricing or incredibly difficult to find the cards. Or I would need to purchase a code for a 111 line of that card. Remember, it's a promo, which means that every single code that you get will give you one of every card. Those 2 things are not unreasonable to do, except I can't put out content on cards that come out the day that they come out if I'm relying on other people. PTCG Live gives me the option to simply purchase these cards myself, which I think is a really, really good thing. And if you don't see the value in that, it's perfectly fine. I'm not advocating for you to go and jump on Live. I'm simply saying that I think it's the best place for me and for my content going forward. If you've got comments or statements, suggestions, things you'd like to see, then please comment them down below. I'd really appreciate a like on this video just to make myself feel better knowing that I'm making a good choice. But as you can see, apart from the fact that Lost Box takes 20-minute turns, the game is running very smoothly. It looks nice. I feel like it is a pretty solid option. Now, let's get back into the game here. We need to find a bunch of energy this turn if we can. Let's start off with an Underworld Door. We'll put that energy on the Deoxys. Can we find another energy here? We can't. That's okay. Do we have access to energy from Training Court? We'll play down this Gardevoir here, and no, we do not. Okay, so we cannot take a knockout this turn, but we can set ourselves up in such a way that knockouts are possible. We'll see whether or... I'll tell you what, there's some energy. We were very unlucky to whiff energy there. Let's go for an Underworld Door. We'll attach an energy to the Deoxys, draw a couple of cards. We are still looking for any way to retreat our active. We can still just manually retreat, that's not a problem, but I would much prefer it if we didn't have to. It looks like we're going to have to. We're going to manually retreat here. We are going to go into the Shadow Rider Calyrex. It's a bit of a gamble. I feel like it's the right choice for me at this time. We've used a lot of cards, but nothing too significant. We'll grab an energy back with the Training Court. And then, since we have used all of our Underworld Doors, we'll simply take a knockout on this Cramoran and see what happens next. There are two prize Pokemon on the bench, and if that Giratina V stays as a basic V, there's still a real possibility that we go on to win. I'm starting to become more concerned, though, because there's a good chance that this Giratina not only evolves into a V-Star this turn, but also attaches 3 energy, or attaches 2 energy, and gets 10 Pokemon or cards in the Lost Zone, which will allow them to use their V-Star power to simply knock me out. That's not as good. Not as good as being alive still. I'm still hopeful that we could live. But here's the thing, Giratina can take this big knockout, so I'm a little concerned. Maybe I should have just gone in with the Deoxys, actually. Let's think about it. If I went in with the Deoxys, and I attack with the Deoxys, I take the knockout on the active regardless, and then I put 60 damage on the Giratina, which means it only has 220 damage left to deal if I were in that position. Maybe it was better to go in with the Deoxys, actually. How many cards do they have in the Lost Zone? 8. So I have 9 now. If they use a copy of Colress, they'll have all the cards they need to get that V-Star. There is the Colress's Experiment. It's not ideal, but on the plus side, at least we have access to all of the things that you can see here. I am aware that I am covering up my hand a smidge, but you know what? I think that it looks perfectly fine. The only other information that you are missing is that I have a Deoxys in my hand, and... see that? Means I have 4 prizes left to take, but it's also on the other side, over there, and say 6 to 4. Kind of weird that they made that smaller. If you've been following along with the development of Live, you'll know that there has been a relatively large update to the way that the game looks. And it's strange that they made the stuff on the right-hand side a little bit smaller than it was. I can understand why. It doesn't need to be too big, but now it's small, and I miss it. But that's okay. Alright, so you know all those things that I was talking about, all the bad stuff that could happen? Well, it's happening. Do they have access to a retreat card? All they need at this stage would be a Scoop Up Net, Switch, Escape Rope, something like that. They're going to Primate Wisdom. Are they Primate Wisdoming for it, is the question. Looking for that extra card to give access to the Giratina. If there's a Switch or a Scoop Up Net, we lose the Calyrex, but we also get access to the Deoxys V-Star, and we could simply take a knockout next turn with that V-Star power. Star Force will do the job if they have 2 or 3 energy on them, I think. Let's think. 6, 12, 24. You know what? I reckon we might be able to get this knockout. A big issue here is this Capture Energy getting another Giratina. That's a problem. That's an issue. Here's the retreat. We'll see what we can do this time. They're going to use Star Requiem to take the knockout, which is completely fair and reasonable. They are more than welcome to do that. If we find a Boss's Orders, it might actually be worth us just using that to knock out the Giratina on the bench. We can use the Psychic Javelin attack from Deoxys, knock out the Giratina, and then get the Lumineon the turn afterwards. The problem's going to be we need to get access to it. So let's put the Radiant Gardevoir in the active. We'll see what happens here. We'll throw down this Deoxys. Just in case we need another attacker, we can play down the Air Balloon. And then we've got 2 copies of Calyrex to use. I think that it's going to be an Underworld Door first. We could theoretically thin with Fog Crystal, but I don't think that it's required. Air Balloon's not the card that I'm looking for. We'll Underworld Door again. I'll attach energy this time to the other Deoxys. We find Deoxys V-Star, but no boss, so that's a little disappointing. We do at least have an attacker for next turn, so the game is still open for us. No access to boss just yet. Was there a world where we could have thinned down our hand to get that boss? I don't know if there was. Let's Training Court here. We've got the energy. We can manually attach next turn to a Deoxys. We've already got an Air Balloon on the active, which is fantastic. Let's retreat. Go into the Deoxys V-Star. And then it's going to be a simple matter of just using Star Force here. We will Pal Pad just before we do that, though. Make sure that we have a better chance of drawing in the boss. Thornton, very good there, too. Can remove a Crobat. Give us another VMAX if we need it. Let's go for a knockout. Star Force. That's going to do the job. Let's click it. 330 damage. We take the knockout on the Giratina. Now, it's definitely possible for them to win this turn. But we've done the best that we can. We've put ourselves in as good a position as possible. There's a Calyrex, by the way, if we do need an extra one. Okay, here's how they win the game. They need Giratina V-Star, attach an energy, use a Mirage Gate to accelerate 2 energy from the deck, find a switch out, find boss's orders. They need those 5 cards to win. It is not unlikely that they do that because they have a relatively large hand. But they need all 5. They literally need every single one of those cards. They have energy with Training Court. They're guaranteed that. The other cards they will need to draw into. And it seems like this flower selecting is a bit of a tough choice for our opponent. Maybe we've managed to find ourselves a situation where we have a chance to win. It's just boss's orders that we are looking for now. To be brutally honest, maybe we should have just gone for the research last turn, drawn 7 of 9 cards, and given ourselves the guaranteed win if it was there. I think I got suckered in by the Deoxys V, to be honest. I didn't need to attack with this. Could have just attacked with the Shadow Rider, I think. Although, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit harder, if they do knock out the Deoxys in the active, we may not have enough energy to be able to get a clean knockout on a, what's it called, Aluminium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16, we need a Choice Belt to get it. There's the Mirage Gate. So that's one of the cards that they need. They have a Grass Energy and they have a Psychic Energy. They need Giratina, they need Attachment, they need a Switch. They have the Switch, but they don't have all the cards they need for game. Into the Comfey. Flower selecting again. We'll see what is going to happen here. What is going to happen? Just so you know, by the way, we've got Deoxys VMAX hiding out down here. Hello, hello, friend. Where are you? Over here. Who's there? One of the good things about this, what do you call it? Hand? But that's okay. I can sit. You don't necessarily need to see every card. You'd be surprised by them. He'll just pop out from the corner every now and then. Alright, they are taking some time, and that leads me to believe that we might have a chance here. So, our next turn is going to look like this. We're going to quick ball away a card. We are going to thin a card out. We're going to use Training. They're scooping up again. They're going for another Comfey. They are going for another. Alright, well, they're using up switch outs to try and get this KO. Which is fair, because they need it, to be brutally honest. It wasn't that. It was not the water energy going into the Lost Zone. Which, the animation of that looks actually really cool. Like, the stars and stuff going through it looks sick. Primate Wisdom. Is this the last card they need? They haven't got it just yet. There's the Giratina. There's the Attachment. They've probably just got it off of the Primate Wisdom. We're going to retreat into any card here. The Crobat, I think, is the best one. Do they have the boss in hand? They do. Oh, so close. And that Giratina that I said we needed to knock out earlier ends up being the one that cruises home and takes the win. A very good game there. We didn't get a chance to use Deoxys too much, but we used the V-Star power. And to be brutally honest, the fact that it held its own for that long against Giratina VMAX, I think, is a really good sign. So there you have it, Deoxys V-Star and VMAX, very usable on the ladder. Thank you very much for joining me over here. It's on this side. Some members, these people support the channel, or at least they have in the past. If you'd like to do it, there's a membership link down below. It costs $3 a month at the minimum level to get there, and that's $3 Australian. It's like, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. And also, if you'd like to follow along, then like the video, subscribe down below, and yeah, comment. What do you want to see next? It's going to be Zeraora, by the way. Hopefully you enjoy it. And, yeah, this is the end. I've not done one of these in a while, and you can probably tell. Is there a video over here? I don't know what it is. Probably Clefairy.